Hey everybody, Lord Tremendous here. Got another battle report here for you. 2,500 point battle. This is the final game I'm gonna post anyway, before the Shiloh GT prep. I did play a few games after this one, but I didn't bring my camera because I'm coming up on Battle Report 200, and that's going to be a mega huge battle. I'm hoping to have like 40,000 points on the table or more. I don't know yet. We're still working out that, but I don't want to hit 200 in the middle of the GT battle reports. So this will be the final report you get until after I come back from the Shiloh GT and get to show you guys my new trophy, because I'm going to win best overall because I'm that confident with my Tomb Kings. Yeah, we all know that's bullshit. But you know what? It sounds good, so I'm going to stick with it. Anyway, it's me, Lord Tremendous of the Tomb Kings, versus General Marcus of the Empire. This is actually a pretty good game. It's actually not against Death Holy Death for a change, so that's kind of nice. And I'm playing some opponent whose army actually has a pulse. So it's interesting. It's a whole mind shift type of thing. So get ready to see how this one goes.
Assemble the army!
Here's my list, and it's pretty much everything that you would expect because I can't change it yet. Or until after the Shiloh, in which case I'll go back to my Undead Legion army. Anyway, here's my Tomb King, Lord Tremendous. He's got a shield, Sword of Anti-Heroes, Armor of Destiny, Dragonbane Gem, and the other Trickster Shard. And my first of two High Lich Priests, Queen Elizabeth, who's a level 4 wizard, Staff of Sorcery, Lorna Hekhara, and she's also my Hierophant. My second Lich High Priest is Dark Vincent, who's a level 3 wizard with a Dispel Scroll and a Lore of Undeath. My hero choices are choice anyway, is my Necrotech Sinister Jeffrey with the Sword of Striking, Dragon Helm, and the Iron Curse icon. My core choices consist of 5 Skeleton Horse Archers with a banner, and I'm really starting to like these guys. I know, but it's true. 58 Skeleton Warriors, the Fateless, with full command, light armor, and shields. 12 Skeleton Archers, the Queen's Guard, with full command. And then 2 units of 3 Chariots. The first one is Roland Bones, with a Musician Banner and a Banner of Eternal Flame. And the other one is the Thunder, with a Banner of Musician. My special choices consist of 3 Medusa Stalkers, those that gaze, a Chimerian War Sphinx with Fiery Roar, and my rare choices are my Hyro Titan, Nad the Protector, the Screaming Skull, Catapult, and the Casket of Souls. My opponent's list is as follows, because he's not going to the Shiloh, so who cares if you know his list. He's got a General of the Empire as his General, with the Warrior Bane, Crown of Command, and Enchanted Shield. He's also got a Battle Wizard Lord, who's a level 4 wizard, Talisman of Endurance, Van Horstman Speculum, and the Lore of Life. His hero choices are 2 Butt-Naked Warrior Priests with shields, Captain of the Empire, who is his BSB with the Armor of Fortune, a Battle Wizard, a level 2 wizard with the Lore of Light, and then his core choices, which consist of 48 Halberdiers with full command, a unit of 10 Inner Circle Knights with full command and the Steel Standard, and then his special choices are a unit of 30 Greatswords with full command and the Razor Standard, as well as 3 Demigryph Knights with a Standard. And yeah, they're Chocobo Knights, let's face it. His rare choices are the obligatory Steam Tank, a Hellblaster Volley Gun, and the Celestial Hurricanum. Here are my spells, which are pretty much what you're looking at. And since I didn't get a picture of his spells because he doesn't have the cards, here's deployment. And for the most part, I just wanted to get into the Empire. I was hoping on numbers and fear and eventual panic checks to just get him off the table. That was really the plan. I didn't want to play hide and seek with him. I didn't want to run up and meet him, but at the same time, I was pretty confident if I threw the Skeleton Warriors out front there, then he would go after him, and I could just collapse the chariots into him and hopefully finish him off that way. I have my casket, I have my catapult, I have some shooting. I felt like I had the advantage here. And of course, the Stalkers, when they came on the table, were going to Care Bear stare at the Steam Tank until it was dead, or they were, either way. Here's my opponent's right flank, which consists of his Chocobos. And here's his center. From left to right, there's his Inner Circle Knights, his huge unit of halberdiers with, I believe, I know his general's in there. I'm pretty sure his Battle Wizard Lord is in there, and probably a Warrior Priest, because that makes sense. Then behind them is the Celestial Hurricanum. Next to that is kind of hard to see, but there's his Hellblaster. In front of the Hellblaster is his Greatsword unit with his BSB, his other wizard, and a Warrior Priest in it, I believe. And of course, next to them is the Steam Tank. And over here on his left flank are my scouts, because they scout, and I like that. Here's my right flank, which consists of my chariots, and these are the chariots with the Banner of Eternal Flame, as well as my War Kitty. And here's my center, which consists of, from left to right, my casket, my Titan. In front of the Titan is my other unit of chariots. Next to them is my Skeleton Warriors with Necrotech and Tomb King installed. Behind them are my archers with both my Lich High Priest installed, as well as my Screaming Skull Catapult next to them. And with that all pointed out, we go over here to top of 1 after movement. And I got to go first. And I don't move a lot at all. I think I backed my chariots up. That's pretty much it. I think the kitty backed up a little bit too. But there was no reason for me to go forward. No reason for me to get closer to him at all. Make him come to me and take as much time and fun with shooting and magic as I can. That's the way I saw this one coming. During the magic phase, I'm able to bring some Spirit Hosts on the table, which is excellent because now I have a speed bump, and I really like the Lore of Undeath for that. I can bring Spirit Hosts, I can bring Hex Rays, I can bring Boshati. All the stuff that you want to bring but you don't want to pay for, you can bring with the Lore of Undeath. So I really like that, and I think it's going to be a staple in my army. I go back and forth with it because I really would like to bring the Lore of Light back into this army, but we'll see. We'll see what happens after the Shiloh. For right now, in this particular game, for certain, this is a lot better. During the shooting phase, my catapult shoots, hits, and wounds the steam tank, but only does 1 wound. You know what? I know I should be grateful that the stupid thing is even hitting, but I'm so frustrated with it. I really don't see bringing it in my Undead Legion list, because 90 points gets me a level 1 Lore of Light wizard. So I know it'd be useless, but damn it, I'm so sick of this stupid thing. Nothing else happens worth of any note. I think my scouts kill off a greatsword guy, but it wasn't worth taking a picture of. So we go to bottom of 1 after movement, and he moves a lot. Needless to say, pretty much everything just comes pell-mell straight forward. The one cool thing about this, on my side of the table anyway, is his steam tank, which is a chariot, went tearing ass through the forest and failed his dangerous terrain check. Yeah. There you go. He not only did he fail his dangerous terrain check, but he took 5 wounds because of it. So he is now at 6 wounds. And considering he gets bottom of 1, that's huge. He's more than half dead, because I'm an optimistic kind of guy. And I really like that, because now my stalkers have, you know, pretty much shouldn't have any problem doing 4 more wounds to this thing and taking care of it before it could do anything. During his magic phase, he gets his 5-up ward save off on his halberdiers, which is fine. I didn't really plan on targeting them at all. There's bigger threats, the knights, the chocobos, the steam tank, hell, even a hellblaster gun. You know, that thing was kind of a pain. So him getting that spell off was fine with me. During his shooting phase, his Hellblaster takes careful aim at my scouts and kills all but 1, which was some swell shooting. I gotta give him that. And I'll let you know right now, my scouts fall back for the rest of the game and survive the entire game. Well, my scout survives the rest of the game because I just run him away to kind of keep the 80 points out of his hands. So, with that all over, we go over here to top of 2 after movement, and as you can see, my stalkers come onto the table, and they're looking right at the steam tank. That wasn't exactly where I wanted them to go. They kind of scattered over there, but they're still looking at the steam tank, so I'm happy about that. My Spirit Host that I summoned the last turn moves up to intercept the Knights. I know if they charge them and all that, but I was kind of hoping that if they do hit it, they run into the Skeleton Warriors, blocking the Halberdiers and the Great Swords and all that. So kind of gives them a traffic jam so I can deal with 1 unit at a time instead of multiple units. I didn't mind the Knights into the Skeleton Warriors because I have a unit of chariots on my left flank, on my left flank there that could slam into them. So I was okay with all that. And who knows, maybe they get hung up by the Spirit Host for a turn or 2, and that could be cool too. Other than that, though, I really don't move around a whole lot because I just don't see the purpose. During the magic phase, I get my casket spell off on his demigryphs, and he rolls out of the box, taking like 5 wounds onto the chocobos. And one dies, they take a panic check and fail and actually flee like 4 inches away. But that was huge because that buys me time. I mean, I know they're going to rally, I know that they're still coming, but it buys me an entire turn plus to just deal with everything else in his army and not have to worry about my left flank, which I was very happy about. Unexpected, but happy that it happened. And then over here in the shooting phase, my Stalker's Care Bear stared a tank to death. I ended up doing 20 hits, and I think I did 20 hits altogether, and I did like 8 wounds. I rolled like 8 sixes out of 20 dice, and so this tank would have been obliterated anyway, or really close to it. So I felt really good about that. So gotta love these Stalkers. So with Mushroom Cloud in the middle of the board there, we go over here to bottom of 2 after movement, and he charges. The Greatswords charge into the Stalkers, and that's completely my fault. Even with the scatter, I take the blame because, yeah, killing the tank gave the Greatswords a beautiful charge into the Stalkers they had no problem making. I think he actually rolled like an 11 or 12 to make the charge, too, and he only needed like a 7, so they want it in there. His Knights, I miscalculated. He was able to easily slip past my Spirit Host and charge into the Skeleton Warriors, which is fine. That's kind of where I wanted him anyway. So it is what it is. His Demigryphs rally. His Hurricane moves up to try to do what it can. The Hell Blaster's pretty much out of range of everything. So yeah, that's pretty much what happens there. There's a better picture of his Knights slamming into my Skeleton Warriors, and that hurts my feelings, but not really. And here's a better picture of the Greatsword slamming into the Stalkers, and that actually does hurt my feelings. They're screwed. And there's a better picture of his Demigryph Riders rallying, which was expected, but the fact that they fled at all is awesome. During his magic phase, he gets Foz protection off on his Knights. Not ideal, but it's probably the least dangerous spell. There wasn't a whole lot I could do about it because it was an irresistible force, and he ended up casting it with miscasting 7, which was okay. I'll take it. After all said and done, though, 3 Greatsword guys die, and his magic phase is pretty much ended. So, while it wasn't the most ideal of miscasts, I'll take it. I'll take it. You know, it's kind of cool. Over here in combat, I don't take that bad of a beating. My Tomb King does catch a wound. He does make way to get into this combat. He does end up taking a wound, which kind of sucks, and not thrilled about it. And I ended up losing 3, 6, 7 Skeleton Warriors in total. And you know, so 7 charge and a banner to 3 ranks, banner and a wound. You know, I do lose this combat, but now they're stuck in. They're no longer going to have the high strength. I've got a chance. And the traffic jam is here, so I feel pretty good about what's going on here. So all in all, I can't really complain about how this one's going. Over here, though, against the Greatswords, yeah, my Stalkers get obliterated. I do a little bit of damage prior to the Greatswords attacks. Not much. I get the stragglers and like 1 guy in the 3rd rank. And I did try to take out his unit champion, or not his unit champion, his warrior priest and his caster, and I just couldn't. These guys really aren't meant for close combat, especially not against a unit like Greatswords, so it's not a surprise at all that it went this way. But you know me, I want everything my way, and since it didn't happen, I was sad. Plus, I like the Stalkers. And just a little fun fact, with the Shiloh and everything coming up, I wanted to get my whole army painted because, you know, paint score is a thing. And my wife actually took time out of her schedule to actually help me and paint my army, and she painted the Stalkers, she painted my characters, she painted my casket, my catapult, a lot of the, like, my Vargeist, the Spirit Host. She's done a ton of work on the army, so it's all painted now. We worked together, and she did all the good work, I did all the mediocre work, and yeah, so the next battle report you see after this one, you're going to see my whole army painted, and it's going to be awesome. And yes, I'm so thrilled. It looks so good, guys. It really does. So yeah, sorry, side note, I rant, but what can I say? I wanted to share that with the group. And now that combat's over and I don't want to look at my dead Stalkers anymore, we go over here to top of 3 after movement. And I'm Tomb Kings. I don't really move a whole lot. So I don't. The Spirit Host kind of move into position to just kind of threaten his flank. The unpainted one, well, the gray one, as you can see up there, he moves over just to kind of threaten the halberdier's flank, just in case. What's it called? The Knight's break or whatever, and because I was planning on overrunning or pursuing if they did. That way the Spirit Host could charge into the flank, give me the extra combat res, and I don't think there's anything that unit that will be attacking him. So that's just free combat res for me as far as I'm concerned. And then the tan-looking Spirit Host that I cast, last turn, I just forgot to take a picture of it. He starts heading towards the Demigryph Riders, if nothing else, to hold him up, because I didn't want him slamming into my chariots, because that would have sucked. Other than that, my other set of chariots on my right flank there kind of fall back slightly because I'm worried about the greatswords, and the War Kitty sits where he's at. I thought about charging him into the knights, and then I realized it was a front charge and it was impossible, so it was illegal. So I held him back just a little bit so that if the greatswords decide to make a move, the War Kitty and the chariots can charge into him and hopefully just decimate the greatswords before the game's over and get those points. Nothing happens in the magic phase. I just have a terrible one. So we go into shooting, and the catapult hits again. It actually scattered like 2 inches off from where I was aiming, but it was a perfect hit. And yeah, I can't believe it. That's twice in one game it's actually hit. It does minimal damage, but it does kill, I want to say like 8 or 9 halberdier guys, which in a brick this size isn't really a ton, but I'm not complaining because it's actually pretty good. They do pass their panic check, go figure, but it was a hell of a shot, and I'm actually kind of happy with the stupid catapult for a change. So I'm all full of these emotions, these feels I'm not used to feeling. Then over here, we go back into combat, and I lose 1 skeleton warrior. He loses nothing because, you know, he's got armor save of knight. And I end up winning this combat because 3 ranks, banner to wound and a banner. I win. Not by much, but he panics and flees, and I pursue, but he gets away. He bounces through the halberdiers. They pass their panic check, but my skeleton warriors move up and are within like 4 or 5 inches of the halberdier guys. So that's actually fine. The halberdiers, I figure, are going to charge my skeleton warriors, and then my spirit host will go in, and hopefully I'll be able to deal with them just because of superior numbers, you know, hatred, all that stuff. I'm hoping. So, with that hope in mind, we go over to bottom of 3, and sure enough, the halberdiers charge in, no sweat. The knights rally, and the greatswords decide to stay right the hell where they are because he didn't want the War Kitty and the chariots slamming into their flank and rear and just decimating that entire unit. His Demigryph Riders charge up the left flank there. They opted not to charge because he would have needed like an 11 or something like that. So he moved them up real close, which is fine because now I can move my Spirit Host into the way because, you know, my Spirit Host can only move 6 inches because I'm Tomb Kings. I can't march for any reason. So, yeah, there is that. But my plans are coming to fruition for the most part. Now it's just a matter of seeing if I can, you know, find that follow through. There's a better picture of his halberdiers slamming into my skeleton warriors, and I'm okay with that. During his magic phase, he gets a 5-up ward save off on a halberdier unit. I spend all my dispel dice and stuff stopping his other spells, so what can you do? And so we go over here into combat, and yeah, his dice roll much better than mine do. Much better. He ends up killing 10 of my guys total after all is said and done. I believe he wins this combat. But yeah, I end up losing 10 guys, which in a unit of 60 isn't so bad. I don't think he loses many. I think he loses maybe 8. So yeah, not great, but it's going the right direction, and I can bring my guys back. So we go over here to top of 4 after movement, and my Spirit Host on the left flank charges into the, charges into the Demigryphs just because why not? Might as well get that +1 combat res. My other Spirit Host charged into the flank of the halberdiers because that was the plan. I debated charging the chariots in, but it was a forward charge, and I couldn't have made it in there, so I maneuvered the chariots on my left flank the best I could to, you know, get around in case the Spirit Host falls apart or whatever, or maybe get a cheap flank shot against the knights if they don't move, or the Hurricane. I'd be fine with that too. The War Kitty tries to charge into the halberdier guys and fails the charge. I think I roll Snake Eyes or something like that to charge. It was really bad. And my other unit of chariots on the right flank there, they just sit right where they're at because they're just going to continue to shoot at the greatsword guys with the 1 remaining scout. And wait for them to make the mistake of moving closer, because I don't want a chance to charge, nor do I want to go in with just a chariots and a greatswords. They'll get cut to pieces. But at the same time, the chariots are holding the greatswords off from slamming into the flank of my skeleton warriors. So as far as I'm concerned, they're making up their points and then some. There's a better picture of the Spirit Host slamming into the Halberdier unit, and that's awesome. And there's a better picture of the other Spirit Host slamming into the Demigryph Riders, which is cool because Demigryph Riders don't have magical attacks. So if I can slip a wound through, that'd be great. But right now, I'm winning combat by 1. And he's made a couple of terrible... I mean, he's rolling high, so I shouldn't say he's made a couple of terrible leadership checks. He's actually rolling well. It's just too well at the wrong times. You know what I mean? And there's a picture of the War Kitty failing a charge into the Halberdier unit. And I can't be mad at the kitty because he's my favorite. During the magic phase, nothing happens once again. No, I'm sorry, that's not true. I'm able to get Righteous Smiting off the big bubble one in the magic phase, which is just outstanding, I don't mind telling you. And it goes off on pretty much everyone there. I'm also able to bring a unit of Boshati onto the table. I don't get a picture of it because I honestly just kind of forgot. But everybody's got extra shots and stuff like that, and extra attacks, which especially against the Halberdier unit is going to be huge. During the shooting phase, my Screaming Skull Catapult, not only does it hit the Celestial Hurricanum, it explodes the bastard. I roll a 6, just decimating it. And that was fantastic, because that thing was, I think it was giving him +1 to hit, or +1 ward save, or something like that. Something crazy stupid and irritating. Not to mention it was shooting that stupid spell off, and I had to keep dispelling it. So the fact that it's dead, especially a horrible death to the Screaming Skull Catapult, is awesome. And can we just take a moment to realize that my Screaming Skull Catapult has performed the hat trick during this game? My War Machine has done this. Hit the steam tank, did a wound, hit the Halberdier unit, killed a handful of them, and then it blew up the Celestial Hurricanum. That's unheard of for this thing. So very pleased, very happy. And then over here in combat, the +1 attack, the Spirit Host, and just the superior weapon skill. My Necrotech ends up dying, but everybody else just obliterates the Halberdier unit. And I do lose some skeletons in return, but as you can see, it's going the right direction. The Halberdier unit is now smaller than the Skeleton Warrior unit, and that's what I want to see. And also, I can bring my skeletons back little at a time, but I can bring them back. So I'm feeling pretty positive about how this one's going. And then over here, if you can believe it, the Spirit Hosts that's charged the Demigryphs. Not only did he fail to do a wound or anything of the sort, I don't even think he hit. It was just the fact that the Spirit Hosts charged Demigryphs. They failed their panic or their break check, fled, and ran off the table. How outstanding is that? Worst Chocobo Riders ever. My opponent was disgusted with them. Just disgusted with them. Oh, the poor guy. Those Demigryph Riders never had a chance. But you know what? Don't always get lucky in my games. In this situation I did, and it was nice because it locked down my left flank. A free unit of Spirit Host, and my Casket dealt with them, and that's just outstanding. So, probably blowing all my good karma prior to the GT, but damn it, when it happens, it makes me smile. So, with all that fun said and done, we go over here to bottom of 4 after movement, and not a ton. The Great Swords decide, screw it, let's go for it. They try to charge into the Skeleton Warriors and fail their charge. He rolls a 3 and he needed like a 6. So yeah, my opponent's dice have cooled off considerably. His unit of knights stay right where they're at because he honestly doesn't know where to put them, and everything else he has is dead in combat or out of range to do anything. There's a better picture of his Great Swords failing a charge into my Skeleton Warriors, and that's a good thing for me. During his magic phase, however, he is able to get Speed of Light off on his Halberdier unit. Not a huge big deal, but not exactly something that I'm really fretting over, if you know what I mean. It's just I prefer this over the 5-up ward save, to be perfectly honest. Just so you don't think I'm taking it easy on the guy, though, he did get it off with an Irresistible Force and ended up miscasting 8. And this miscast ends up doing a little bit of damage. I think it hurts most of the characters that can channel stuff on his side of the table. Some make ward saves, some don't. It doesn't really matter, so I didn't take a picture of it. And it also ends his magic phase, which is nice. Then over here we go into combat, and even with Speed of Light, his dice just completely cool off, and mine start picking up, which is outstanding. And as you can see, there is barely a rank of Halberdier guys left, as well as his general. That's it. I think he's got, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 Halberdier guys left, and his general left. And I've still got almost 30 Skeleton Warriors and my general left. Not to mention some Spirit Hosts that haven't taken a wound yet because they're just outstanding. So yeah, this Halberdier unit is basically done, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because that was the reason we came, to kill the Empire. So we go over here to top of 5 after movement, and as you can see, there's been some, but not much, because I don't need to. My skeleton chariots on the left flank there, they just kind of hang tight because they're going to take pot shots at the knights. The other chariots decide there's no reason to try to charge the great swords because this turn I should finish off the halberdier unit, and then I can turn my skeleton warriors to face the great swords. The great swords charge into skeleton warriors. They don't kill them all, hopefully, and then my kitty and my chariots can charge into them and finish them. Maybe even the spirit hosts. Who knows? And yeah, I also have some Boshati and that I summoned last turn. They're going to take some pot shots at the knights as well. During the magic phase, once again, I get Mega Smiting off, the big bubble Righteous Smiting thing off, which gives everybody +1 a shot and +1 attack. Not to mention brings back 4 Skeleton Warriors, which is nice. But the next spell that I try to get off is the Casket of Doom, and it works great. My opponent's knights were my target because I just wanted to get past their armor save. And he rolled like a 12 or something like that altogether on the first roll, and he would have been okay. I think it was like a 10 or an 11, actually. And he would have been fine, but his BSB was in range. It was like, you don't have to re-roll it, but you can if you want. And he did, and he rolled like a 16, and he just... yeah, cleared the rank. What can you do? So the knights died to the casket, and I'm not apologizing. I'm just not. Then over here, nothing happens in the shooting phase worth mentioning. I think some more greatsword guys get shot at and die, but it's nothing really relevant. So we go into combat, and the last group of halberdiers die a horrible death. I do lose 5 skeleton warriors, though, for my trouble, which was an admirable last stand for the halberdier unit and his general, but in the end, his general has the crown of command, and they've been stubborn this whole time, so... they're still stubborn. And I believe the General of the Empire and the Captain of the Empire have basically the cold-blooded rule when it comes to break tests, so he doesn't go anywhere. And yeah, so everything's pretty much dead except, well, the halberdier unit is dead, but the General's still there holding me up. So we go over here to bottom of 5 after movement, and there's really none at all. I don't need to move. I just don't, so I don't. I kind of skip my magic and shooting phase because there's no real purpose. And we go into combat, and my general gets into a challenge with his general and beats him into the ground and kills him, which is nice. And then I turn to face his greatswords because I'm figuring they're coming in. But that's it. That's the end of the game because he just concedes at this point. He's like, you know what? All I got is great swords left, and you have your entire army plus 2 spirit hosts and some Ushapti. My great swords aren't going to be able to cut through all that in a turn, so you win. I surrender. And I'm sorry, he did have his Hellblaster as well too, but he surrendered, so all that just kind of spontaneously combusts. It was a good game. It did not go well for my opponent. His dice kind of misled him. They kind of teased him a little bit in the beginning. He was rolling hot, and then they started rolling ice cold, and my dice just got lit on fire. I don't know. I guess they smelled blood in the water or something. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I don't mind my dice rolling out of the box. So, yeah, all in all, it was a damn good game, a damn good showing of what my Tomb King could do. Lore of Undeath really made itself heard, seen, whatever, proved itself here, and I was very pleased with that. So, all in all, I can't complain. But you know what? We'll get to the recap in a minute, because right now, this game is over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
banners, banners, banners. Get you some banners. Look at the banners. You are never going to be able to get better banners than this. There is no company, there is no talent scout, there is no entity on the planet that's going to get you banners better than this. Custom banners for your custom army. You want better paint scores. You want that little edge that makes your army better than the guy next to you. Sick of running, going to tournaments and getting that paint score that's just a few points lower than the guy that literally sneezes on his army. And you can't figure out why? Get these banners and make your army really pop, really stand out. Send this guy an email, tell him what you want, and get yourself some banners. It's totally worth it. Alright, guys and gals, there it is. Token Gal is back, and she's back in full operation mode of making tokens. So if you missed out before she went and got married and became Mrs. Token Gal, or however that works, this is your chance. Get your tokens now. Send her an email. Send her your monies. Get yourself some tokens. They're dirt cheap, solid gold quality. You're not going to be disappointed. Tell her Tremendous sent you. She'll probably know. But yeah, get these tokens. They're so much better than just using dice. They're so much easier to remember everything. You don't have to worry about your cards getting lost, stolen, ripped, torn, whatever. And, they're glass beads, cool high-def pictures. Totally worth it. Get yourself some tokens. You won't regret it. That's right, guys. As you saw from the pictures, Unleashed Wargaming is now doing magic cards. As you can see, not only magic cards, but phenomenal magic cards. Laminated on thick cardstock, photoshopped so that it's real sharp pictures. The words are easy to read. It's real obvious they're numbered, the casting value, the type of spell it is. And they're so unique. They're beautiful magic cards. I have every intention in the world of sending just all the orders I can get to this guy when 9th edition comes out to give me a whole set of the magic cards, because these are amazing. Not only does this guy do great painting, so if you want your models painted, or you need something painted, and you want it painted at a real good standard, at a professional standard for a damn good price, contact this guy. Send him an email. Get yourself some cards. Get yourself your army painted. You won't regret it. Let him know Tremendous sent you. So yeah, for those of you that weren't paying attention or just fast forwarded to the end to see how it all went, it was a victory for Lord Tremendous. Go figure. My opponent surrendered in turn 5, which is okay with me. I ended up losing my Stalkers to a charge from the Vengeful Greatsword guys, and I deserved it. The Empire player basically lost everything, because the way we played is when you surrender, your whole army just spontaneously combusts. So yeah, he was... basically everything died, which is good, because after some of the butt whoopings I took from other players, especially Death Holy Death, I needed recruits. But yeah, that battle actually went really well, which is nice because it just shows me how well my Tomb King army can do, even against, other hardback books like the Empire and stuff like that. So I'm not going to complain. I actually very much enjoyed seeing that. The steam tank pretty much self-destructing on its initial move through the forest was huge, and very considerate of the steam tank. They're usually not that considerate, so this one I almost felt bad killing, but luckily I'm a shallow bastard, and I don't really lose any sleep over it. I feel bad that I placed my Stalkers the way I did. Yes, they did scatter, but it didn't help that I put them the marker where I originally put it, so I had to take blame there. All I saw was the steam tank. I did not think a turn ahead to the countercharge from the Greatswords if everything went my way. Very stupid and very smart of my opponent to pick up the spare where I left it. So that's my fault, and I've learned something, and hopefully I will apply that during the Shiloh. The Demigryph Riders failing their panic check to the casket when they lost one of their guys and fleeing for a turn was a huge surprise. And then when the Spirit Host charged them and did no damage, and then one by one, and they broke and ran off the table, that was huge. That was huge. Demigryph Riders usually aren't easy to deal with at all, and the fact that these guys broke and went like that, I know it's not going to happen again. I'm well aware that it's not, you know, the typical way things go with Demigryphs, but the fact that it went this way and that they fled and everything like that, you know what? It feels good when you get lucky. That's all I'm going to say. I'm feeling pretty comfortable with this list, though. I didn't get as much practice with it as I should have, but let's face it, we've seen how I do at GTs and stuff like that. I could practice for a year straight and probably still go 3-2. So that's kind of my goal. I'd like to go 4-1. That's my hope for the best situation, but my goal is 3-2. If I can win 3 and lose 2, I'll be happy. I'll feel like I've done well. But my battle is definitely, or my work is definitely cut out for me here, because it's Tomb Kings against a lot of, you know, tournament, you know, hardened lists. So I'm really looking forward to the challenge, really looking forward to running into people and shaking their hands and playing some good games against people I don't normally get to play against. And if you're watching this prior to Shiloh or something like that, and you know, you see me there, or at any GT for that matter, I went to a GT, the last one I went to, and people were telling me towards the end of the GT and stuff that, you know, they came up, shook my hand. That was cool. I really appreciated that, enjoyed that. But they were like, we didn't want to bother you. We didn't want to interrupt your games. We didn't want to be, you know, that pesky stranger. No, be that guy. Come on up in the middle of my game and talk to me. That's half the reason I go to the GTs. I like to meet you guys, you people, and stuff. So yeah, if you want to come over and say hey and get a game in if we can, or just shoot the shit or whatever you want to do, please don't hesitate. Come on by the table if you see me. You know, tell me how much you hate my channel or how much you like it, or what, or anything in between. I don't care. And you know what, it'll be fun. That's half the fun with the GT, is just to meet everybody and have a good time. So by all means, I don't bite hard. We should be great. But yeah, once again, just an absolutely great opponent, really fun game, and I'm looking forward to the next time we face each other on the battlefield. But yeah, guys, that's going to do it for this battle report number 186. Don't expect another one until probably after the, well, definitely after the Shiloh GT. But I'll try to get them out as soon as I can, probably the day after I get home, because I'll get home late. Or maybe the day I get home. I could be all hopped up on caffeine from the drive. Who knows? But as always, I'll want to get those battle reports up as fast as I can, because I really enjoy doing that. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy them. As always, though, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comment section below, and I will get back to you as quick as I can. But yeah, guys, thanks.